What's going on, my babies? Welcome back to another episode of The Spiritual Word. As always, I apologize for any noises in the background in advance and anything of that nature. And before I start these, I like to start these off with a disclaimer by stating that these are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research to come to your own conclusions, to have your own answers, to make your own decisions, and I believe in your ability to do so and to be your own person. And as my returning babies know, I'm reading Start Where You Are, and we're currently on chapter 8. But I totally didn't even realize that we're in the last week of April. And the last week of every month is supposed to be my break week, but I've just been on this grind so heavily that I didn't even notice. I don't even know what day it is. But for that reason, I thought that today would be like a break day for me in the terms of reading wise, because we're only on chapter 8 and there's like 20 something chapters, which is not that bad because they're pretty short. But still, we have 22 chapters, and that's a lot. And then I was thinking about just reading, starting to read 2 instead of 1 a day, because I don't want this to be like a super duper long series, which obviously 22 episodes for one book is it's an extreme amount, in my opinion, for the series. But at the same time, I want to finish this book because I feel like this is going to be very woo woo, but like I don't believe in coincidences, and I didn't even mean to start reading this book here. I meant to start reading You Are the Mountain, and I started reading Start Where You Are instead. So I figured I'd finish this one with you guys and then ask you if you want to continue on reading certain books with me. Like I have Loving Relationships by Sandra Ray. And this is an extremely, like, I love this book. It's really, really good. And then I was thinking maybe I can reread, what's it called? The Science of the Mind, but the Science of the Mind is such a long read. Like, one chapter would probably take me around an hour, maybe 2. And I was thinking I can just summarize or read really key important things that I think is like really valuable. And I have a lot more books. Like I have the research and writings of Nikola Tesla just chilling in my closet right now. And I thought that that would be a good option. But it's also another extremely long book. And so if we read it together, we would be here for a good 2 hours just trying to get through one um chapter because I read pretty slow. And I have more, but they're not the same. Like I have one on colors and what colors mean, which is like a random thing. And then I have another book about numbers, which I've read, my magic number yantra book. I've read it on here. And you can go back and listen to that. I have a whole series on that. Or I can do other reads. I have more books, but they're all related to either science or they're related to spirituality or philosophy or something like scientific. And yeah, I also have I also have the Mountain Is You. So I want you guys to give me feedback on that. And for the people who are on the audio version, go to my Instagram. And my Instagram will have every single one of my links. So if you go to my Instagram, there's a Discord that I have specifically for this podcast, and the Discord name is Can of Heaven, because that's what I used to go by. But, it doesn't matter. As long as you have Discord, the link, the invite to our server is where we can build community and you guys can tell me what you want to see, what you don't want to see. And then I was thinking about doing something like reading not the Bible, like the whole thing, but reading certain chapters in the Bible. And then I was thinking about doing, somebody had suggested to me reading the book of Enoch. And so I was thinking about maybe I could do something like that. But I don't want to get too religious because I feel like a lot of people who aren't religious or who identify as something that's not religious. Like I identify as agnostic or atheist. I believe in God, but I don't worship, if that makes sense. Like I don't go to church and stuff. And so I was thinking for the people who are not religious, we could do something along the lines of, like just self help or psychology or science because it's something that we can all relate to, even if we're extremely religious, like science is something that you can't deny. And for people who aren't religious, you're naturally scientific and you like logic and stuff. So we can do that. And then I also was thinking about just doing I have cards, tarot cards that just chill on my dresser. I was thinking about doing something with those related to what we're learning at this point in time in our lives. And also, I should have stated this before I started this, but I upload Monday through Friday if you're new. And if you're a returning baby, you already know the drill. You already know what we're doing. And the reason that, if you're new, the reason that I'm talking about all these books and all these things that I could do is because I want you guys to be engaged. I don't want this to be a one-sided community type of thing, which is obviously is kind of hard to do with a podcast. But because I have a video version that I do on YouTube that's also named The Spiritual Word, you could just simply go to my YouTube and just comment what you want to see. So it's not something that's like super duper hard. But I'm throwing these ideas out here. One, because I didn't even realize that I wasn't supposed to upload at all this whole week, and my cat is crying. Give me a second. So, anyways, I have that stuff that I can do, and obviously, since I wasn't supposed to upload this week, this is my day where I'm just like chilling because I didn't even realize that I wasn't even supposed to upload this week. So, with that being, well, technically, next week is the last week, but it wouldn't matter because it'd be the beginning of May. So that's why I'm like, meh. But also, I was thinking about just doing my own meditations as I do pretty much every day. And in my meditations, sit down for at least 15 minutes. And then for the rest of my meditation time, I write poems. And then I read those poems because that's what I have done before. Or just do something along the lines of like something that obviously I have to read or something that I have to speak on. And then I was also thinking about just going back to what I was normally doing or what I was doing at the beginning, which was just talking about the things that I see to be trippy and shit like that because it's fun. But I also want the feedback on like what would you want to see because obviously if you're here and if you're a returning baby, I want to take what you want to hear into account. And not that it's going to be 100% of the time what you want to hear, but it's easier for me to, like, on days that I don't have things that I want to talk about the things that you want to hear. And with that being said, let's move on. I'm going to make this a really short episode, so I'm just going to move on with that. And you can go to my YouTube if it makes it really, really easy. They're both, I have an audio version, and if you're listening to this and you want to comment something or you want to add something or give your 2 cents, you can either go to my Instagram, find the Discord invite, get into the Discord, that way you never have to worry about that again. Or you can just go to my YouTube, it's The Spiritual Word, it's the same name, and type in the comments of my latest video, which will be the same. So, with that being said, let's close that door and get into what I was going to talk about today. So, yesterday, I was talking about the chapter that we're doing, and it was making me think, like, I have a lot of really odd dreams. Sorry if you could hear that going by. I have a lot of odd dreams. And today I had a dream about me going to my childhood friend's house and experiencing what their house is like now and experiencing like nostalgic things, like they had an Xbox 360 and they had a Wii and they had like all these different technologies, which obviously it plays into my subconscious because I grew up playing video games. And there was something like really nostalgic, but also in real time. Like it was all of these different devices up to the current device. And I was there with my friend who still lives down the street from me. And I was talking to him about, well, like, why do you think that, why are you sad? Why is this happening? Because I'm not going to get too personal, but a lot of people, when they're sad, they come to me. And I was trying to sit there and understand, like, why this person was feeling so upset when they had so much there. Like this person, like in my dream, this is the dream. In my dream, this person was trying to describe, well, like, I hate it here, I'm not happy here, and I think it's because of, like, being in this house. And I go into this house, and there's, like, a bunch of kids, and they're all our friends, and people that I know now as kids. Like, my nephews, they're, like, the children of their children type thing. And obviously not my friends, but digress. And it's, like, a bunch of kids, and there's a bunch of animals, and there's this little cat, but it's like so freaking tiny. It's like 2 inches tall, and I'm like, that is the cutest thing I've ever freaking seen. And then it gets turned into a video game. And keep in mind, because my dreams, like, I swear that they have meaning, but they're all fever dreams, right? They give off fever dreams anyway. And this cat literally gets sucked into the video game, and I'm like, oh my god, my friend's gonna kill me. This was his cat. Like, he's gonna be so mad at me. And then he's like, oh, where's my cat? And I'm like, I'm like low key in a panic, but I'm like right there in the video game. And then he just like opens the console and it comes out, but it comes out in like a statue form, which is so weird to me. Like it comes out in like an action figure type of way, like it's plastic, but the way that it's made, it looks like in the temples, like in Buddhist temples when they have like lions outside. It looks like that stone material, like that granite material, but it's not granite, it's like stone. And this cat comes out, and it's still alive. And I'm like, how the frick? What is going on right now? And I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. All my dreams are pretty weird, and they all correlate or they all relate to video games in some way, shape, and form. And then I'm like, oh, your cat's still alive. Can I? Because I'm so infatuated, because it's so tiny and so adorable. Like I love cats. I don't know what it is about cats. They got me in a chokehold. And this little tiny thing, I'm like, that's so freaking cute. Can I have it? And my friend's like, no, he's mine. And I'm like, okay, what if I clone it? Can I have its clone? And he's like, oh yeah, go ahead. And I'm like, where did I even get that idea? We're just cloning things. And obviously that dream has like so many ups and downs, ins and outs, so many plot twists. I don't even know what the frick is going on. But I can't stop thinking about that little tiny cat. And that cat is so freaking cute. Like the imagery in my dreams, it's engraved now. Like that's a memory now, And I was also thinking about when we were reading Start Where You Are together, a couple of chapters back, the person was talking about how everything is just a memory and everything is just passing. I think about that a lot. Like I think about even right now, me in contemplation of living, it's all memories. And when you think about it, it's like pictures constantly being taken. Like in a movie, how the film is a reel, It's a reel of pictures going so fast that you don't even think that they're pictures. It's a moving thing. It's a video. It's not a picture. But it was a picture because in order to create a video, you need the pictures. And this also has nothing to do with my dream. I'm just like ranting, rambling. And I was thinking about the fact that like I used to talk to I had a community of people who I dedicated, or I decided that this was like my spiritual people, right? Quotation marks people. When I started this podcast, I was literally living with these people. And every time that we'd have a conversation, it would just end with this finishing, not really statement, because it was never really like a statement that ends it all, but it was like this ending feeling of like, we're here. That's it. Like, there's nothing else. And I remember talking to them about how trippy it is to literally exist in memories. Like, we are existing, but we're a memory. And even though I go through my life is a memory to like the greater scheme of things of humanity. And like, you know, the whole Akashic records thing. If you're spiritual, you understand what I'm talking about. And the Akashic records is like the cosmic records. And you have the ability, bless you, you have the ability to tap into that or to not. And I think it's very fascinating that like we're in the book. You know, like if I were to think about the Akashic records being the book, like quotation marks, the book, like of everything, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the record of every single occurrence in the galaxy. And my life is in the Akashic records. Then I'm just recycling this whole life, my life cycle, because we think that we're physically stuck in this body, because obviously my physical body can only do so much as the physical plane can do, right? Like, it only makes sense that if I was in a superhero movie, I'd have superpowers. But I'm not. I'm in a really quotation marks, mundane, quotation marks, because relatively we're not mundane if you look at like an ant, you know? Like, everything has its own little like profound abilities. Like the fact that an ant can carry like 10 times its weight or something like that, you know? And people have that ability, but we have that ability with our minds. So I say mundane, but I don't really mean mundane. I just say mundane in the terms of like everyday people understanding, blah, 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 whoop de doo, you know? Like everyday understanding of stuff. And if you really sit here and think about it, I was just like trying to get to my point, but I don't think I ever have a point when I really think about it. But anyway, um, if I'm playing out this person, right, and I really, really think that like I'm stuck being this person, then I'm stuck in this physical plane, playing the character that I was assigned to play, which will get repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated and recycled and recycled and recycled and recycled and recycled and recycled and recycled. Now, my consciousness is not stuck to my body, because once I, evaporate into nothingness, that's when my consciousness has its freedom back, right? Because we're not like glued to this body, but our consciousness in a way is glued to the body, right? Until we have like a near death experience, or until we have a spiritual enlightening experience. And we're not stuck here, which is why people have come to realize that like religions are religions, and why people have really deep and philosopher like thoughts, because we can't explain everything that's going on, because we're not really here, if that makes sense. And it's hard to be here and now, which is the only way in which you learn about this physical experience, is by being here and now. But people are so entangled with the storyline that you can't be here and now. And so it physically takes the life itself to slap you into here and now, whether that be through a really like traumatic experience, or something that's like really profound and like a religious experience, you know? And most people, they don't believe in anything outside of them. And so they're actually here and now. And because my consciousness isn't glued to me, I'm just existing as this character. But the character that I'm in thinks that it's really it, because it's not just the character. It's me and the character. And this character is with me too. And because I came up with this character, me and this character are one, essentially. But it's not that simple. And then I was thinking, going back to what I was talking about before that, I was thinking about how everything is a memory. And if I create this experience for myself, and I'm just a memory of something that I wanted to experience, something that we could say consciousness wants to experience being me. So it lives life through me, through my characteristics, through my flaws, through my passions, through my endeavors, through my explorations, through the things that I dislike, through the things that I like. And when I look back at everything to down to this very second, it's really hard to think about the future and think about the past after thinking about how right here and right now I am a memory. And I find that to be a very intriguing thing. Just because I'm like, it makes me feel kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the fact that I'm in this physical experience with a bunch of other physical beings, but they have their own version of life because they are living from their point of view, means that if I say something that's too crazy, they just dismiss it. But if I have an experience that's just like extremely crazy and they identify with it, then we both get it. And who's to say which is right? You know what I mean? Like, that's what trips me out, the fact that, like, this idea is just a feeling. Like, it's just the way that I interpret the way that I experience this physical moment in time. Because one day we're all gonna fucking die. That's the one commonality that we can all agree on. I don't know what happens after I evaporate. And a part of me kind of thinks that because we think that we're stuck in this physical body, you just come back and you relive your life. Your consciousness anyway. Because your physical body, like, it doesn't really exist when you think about it. Like, the whole Buddhist perspective, and like science even says that we're just light and that all of this is just a fucking hologram. And that, we're just vibration. Vibration of what? Vibration of energy. What is energy? And so this is my, I don't really know if this is true or not, but this is like my idea right now. I think, and this might change because I'm constantly thinking about these things, but I think that when you die, your consciousness resets back into this specific person again. And I don't know if it does that for us to learn how to get to a higher dimensional plane, or if it just does that because it doesn't have any other options. Because nothing is created nor destroyed. We're just here until we're not here, and then what happens with that? Because we don't ever go away. And then I was thinking about how this dude went ghost hunting, but he actually tapped into the future. And that idea to me is like, whoa, like, so I'm a ghost to somebody. Like, if I started knocking on the wall, that'd be a ghost to somebody. And then I was thinking about how random I am when it comes to like everyday relative experiencing of life. Because in the grand scheme of things, this is like a very helpful way of thinking because I'm very intuitive and very innovative with the ways in which my brain functions. But relatively, it's not helpful because I still have to go back to being a person and like figure out how to make money. And I think that that's what makes me think that this existence, this experience is so mundane. Like the fact that we worry about really awful things that we worry about because they exist just as much as I exist. And then I get into this like, oh, that's just the way it is. Like, it's just how things are, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, but I feel like I can never do anything about that, you know? And it feels unproductive. But at the same time, I'm unproductive because I live in a world where you have to make money, and I just don't do that, you know? So it is what it is. Then I was thinking about, well, how could I make money? And then I was like, oh, I could just do this. And hopefully it does, well, and it picks up traction. And I won't have to worry about anything. But, like, I'm currently worrying about how to pay my fucking bills right here, right now. Because this doesn't make me anything right now. And I'm like, well, you just have to do it for the experience of it. And everything else will be a byproduct as long as you enjoy what you're doing. And I enjoy thinking about this stuff. But at the same time, I think it puts me into a state of worrying because I have to worry about what's relatively here. Because in order to be the best version of a person, human, flesh that I can be, I have to use what's here and now. And so that means doing the things that I seem to feel is mundane. Even though they're not really mundane, Like, I don't think that, a grocery store stalker is a mundane thing because they still have to, like, they have their own lives. They still have to wake up early, which I hate waking up early. They still have to go to sleep at a decent hour, and I hate sleep. Not that I hate sleep, because that's not true. I love dreaming, but I think that, like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, even if I don't die. And I don't know. I like existing. Like, it's fun. And I don't think there's anything mundane about, like, when I go to the grocery store, because we are incredible. Like, we are an incredible species. The fact that we have science, the fact that we have religion, the fact that we have, like, society and economy, like, that's a very profound thing to think about. And so, like, there's nothing mundane about being here. And then I'm like, well, why can't I just do what everybody else does then? Why can't I just force myself to wake up and force myself to go to sleep? And then I think even deeper, and I'm like, well, it's because I don't want to do things that I don't want to do. And then I'm like, well, am I just being stubborn? And a part of me is like, yeah, you should just grow up. And then the other part of me that's stubborn is like, no, because if you, like, for example, like, if I was sad, like, if I was depressed out of my fucking mind, then that would be a real problem to me. So the things that I see as a problem are real to me. And I think that there's nothing that I can't overcome, which is why I'm like, I should just do the mundane stuff. But at the same time, if there's nothing that I can't overcome, then why don't I just struggle with the problems that I have now and then overcome those through time? Because, like, I genuinely think that life is helping you every step of the way, even if I cry that it's not. You know? And so I'm like, oh, fuck it. Like, I'm just gonna do whatever I wanna do. Anyways, I just rambled for like 30 minutes, even though I said that this was gonna be short. I always say that, but it never goes out. It never goes that way. And yeah, anyways, I'm gonna end this here on this, very um random ending. Like, there was no point to anything that I said, but I also think that there's a benefit to being open with the things that I'm feeling, even if the things that I'm feeling are not said from a feeling point of view, because I think that there's a lot of I don't want to say help, but that's like the best word I can come up with. There's a lot of assistance in looking at the bigger picture rather than just sitting here and crying to you. Because I'm like, the things I want aren't working out right now. You know? So, anyways, I hope that this was helpful, or, I mean, it wasn't really helpful. I hope that this was entertaining in some way, shape, and form. And maybe you feel like that too. Who knows? You know? And, anyways, thanks for tuning in and tapping in. And as always, my babies, if you're new, welcome. I call you guys my babies. I find that to be an endearing term. I upload Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time every day, or Monday through Friday, every week of the month except for the last week. Supposedly, the last week of every month because that's my break week. But sometimes I'm on the grind so hard, I forget it's my break week. Anyways, thanks for tuning in and tapping in, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.